Good afternoon and welcome to Newswatch at noon. I'm Rebecca Fernandez. The storm that brought the two Virginias prolonged heavy rain this past weekend and even into last night and this morning left flooded backyards for many. Newswatch's Frank Norderbatalo has the story.
Richlands, Virginia sits in a valley. The Clinch River winds through Richlands and its surrounding towns. The riverbank started to overflow Saturday afternoon. Grassy backyards became ponds and roads became rivers. While nothing was catastrophic, residents and business owners still had some cleaning up to do.
Well, it really affected us because as the water started coming in on our back parking lot, the river broke the banks in our back parking lot. And the water started filling up our back parking lot, and so we kept watching it from the parsonage area. And as it got closer and closer, we called everybody in from our church last night about 11 o'clock. And we had a crew come down here, and we started picking our pews up off the sanctuary floor and raising them up. Everything wooden that would float away or anything that we started picking it up, raising it up. We worked till 2 o'clock this morning, getting the church ready just in case water came in.
Church staff even used shovels to loosen the drainage ditches along the front parking lot by the road. Flooding improved Sunday afternoon but worsened that evening. Church services were still on as scheduled. After services ended, the flooded line got even closer to the building. With drier days ahead, the flooding waters will recede and cleanup efforts will begin. In Raven, Virginia, I'm Frank Norderbatalo, reporting for Newswatch.
The trial for Dr. Michael Kosenko began yesterday and continues today in federal court in Beckley. Kosenko, former owner and operator of Cold Country Clinic in Daniels, is charged with 22 felony counts, including maintaining a drug-involved premises, distributing oxycodone outside the bounds of medical practice, and distribution resulting in the death of 2 patients. Lawyers told the story of Jennifer Justice, who drove with her husband, her mother, and her father from Hanover to Kosenko's home in Daniels, which also served as his clinic, a roughly 2-hour drive. When they arrived, they each filled out a paper circling the body part in which they were experiencing pain. They each paid $120 in cash for the visit. They sat in a large living room with roughly 24 other people and listened to 40 or 50-minute lectures. They all left with prescriptions for oxycodone. The trial resumed yesterday afternoon and will continue through the week. And because of many stories like this one, the presidents of most of West Virginia's colleges and universities have signed a pact to address alcohol and drug abuse on their respective campuses. At a conference on Monday at West Virginia University, the pact was ceremonially signed. It commits public and private college presidents to work at preventing alcohol and drug misuse and promote recovery support as priorities of student life and campus health. The Pact says drinking and drug abuse is responsible for many of the most serious academic, personal safety, and legal problems our students face. So far, 21 of 29 college presidents in West Virginia have signed it. The issue of homelessness in Charleston has become evident to residents, and the city's leaders say they are struggling to solve it. Mayor Danny Jones said Charleston is a mecca for people who have taken over our streets. His comments came during a recent City Council finance meeting, and he has continued to discuss the topic on his local radio show. In January of 2016, Jones ordered the dismantling of Tent City near the Spring Street Bridge, where about 20 to 30 people lived in an encampment. City Manager David Mulgard says the goal is to improve Charleston and that the city is not looking to cut funding for social services or hurt the homeless. And residents will run and walk through the streets of Charleston this weekend in the inaugural Race to End Racism. The 5K run and 1-mile walk starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday, April 29th, near Magic Island at the corner of Tennessee Avenue and Canal Boulevard West. Race day registration begins at 7:30 a.m. It's hosted by TransCanada. The race will raise funds for the social justice work at YMCA Charleston, including partnership building, community education, and activism. Organizers said the race route will pass historic landmarks, including churches, Mary C. Snow Elementary, and the Luna Park District. At Magic Island, runners, walkers, and even spectators can get food, get their picture taken, win awards, jump in a bounce house, get their face painted, and enjoy live entertainment. The PGA Tour's Greenbrier Classic will honor first responders for rescue and recovery efforts during last June's devastating floods in West Virginia. Officials say on the tournament's website that police officers, EMS, firefighters, National Guard members, and others will be selected to serve as caddies for the tournament's July 5th Pro-Am event at the Greenbrier Resort. They also will be recognized during ceremonies on July 4th. The tournament will be held July 6th through the 9th on the Old White TPC course. And we'll have more news coming up, but when we return, meteorologist Kaylee Shaw will have your full forecast. Welcome back to Newswatch at noon. Now on to statewide news. Governor Jim Justice vetoed his 6th bill on Monday, one that would have created a system for contiguous counties to establish regional recreation authorities. Senate Bill 28 would have authorized the creation of these regional authorities as a joint development entity formed by 2 or more contiguous counties. The bill also would have created trails for off-highway recreational use and provided for reimbursement by this authority for natural resources police officers. The regional recreational authority would work with private landowners, county officials, community leaders, state and federal government agencies, and recreational user groups to create new trail systems and recreation management authorities. The bill said that no more than 2 of these authorities could be created unless approved by a concurrent resolution or by the legislature before July 1st of 2022. And one of Governor Jim Justice's family mining operations has been cited by state inspectors for 6 safety violations. The citations come after the investigation of a February death of a worker at a McDowell County coal preparation plant. Justice Low Seam Mining Incorporation was cited by the State Office of Miners' Health Safety and Training for the violations discovered at the J.C. Jim Justice 2 prep plant. Named for the governor, the agency inspectors looking into the February 27th death of Jason Kenneth Matthews. Matthews of Bluefield, Virginia, was killed when he fell onto a conveyor belt and then into a coal waste bin after climbing a ladder to try to perform repairs on a plate filter press used to dewater coal waste inside the preparation plant. Matthews had been working at the plant for about 3 months. A revised West Virginia law will increase the possible civil fine from $500 to $5,000 for government employers who threaten or retaliate against whistleblowers. The measure, passed by the legislature and signed by Governor Jim Justice, also authorizes firing them instead of the possible 6-month suspension under current law. It clarifies that the fines are owed by the violators themselves, not their agencies, and says a court finding of a violation will be considered official misconduct and can be used for termination. The law prohibits firing, threatening, or retaliating against a worker for making a good faith effort to report about wrongdoing or waste. And entrance passes will be required starting Memorial Day weekend at 7 West Virginia state parks and forests. The Division of Natural Resources said in a news release that the money generated from the pilot project will be used for park maintenance and upkeep. The statement says passes will be required to enter the following state parks and forests: Babcock, Blackwater Falls, Cacapon Resort, Cooper's Rock, Little Beaver, Pipe Stem Resort, and Valley Falls. An annual pass with unlimited entrance to the park is $12 per vehicle, and a single-day pass is also available for $2. Overnight guests and school groups that schedule visits at least a week in advance will be exempt. The DNR anticipates the passes will generate an additional $1 million annually. And officials say a $700,000 project to renovate a bridge connecting West Virginia and Kentucky will slow traffic for at least a month. The Kentucky Department of Highways says they plan to restrict traffic to 1 lane beginning today for the Cattlesburg-Canova Bridge that carries U.S. Route 60 over the Big Sandy River. The project could be delayed if severe weather develops. Hendrick Motorsports announced this morning that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will retire from NASCAR Cup Series racing at the end of this 2017 season. Earnhardt was voted the most popular driver 14 times by NASCAR fans since his racing career began in 1999. He has 603 career starts and 26 wins on the circuit, and he won the Daytona 500 in 2004 and 2014. And yesterday was a tremendous day for America. U.S. astronaut Peggy Whitson breaking the record for the most time in space by a U.S. astronaut, 534 days and counting. ABC's Erin Katersky with the historic moment and the special phone call she received.
This is a very special day in the glorious history of American space flight.
With his daughter Ivanka and astronaut Kate Rubins by his side, President Trump congratulated Peggy Whitson, who soared into history. Overnight, the 57-year-old broke the record for the most days spent in space by an American, 534.
Well, it's actually a huge honor to break a record like this, but it's an honor for me basically to be representing all the folks at NASA who make this space flight possible and who make me setting this record feasible.
Interstellar dreams have been on her radar ever since she was a little girl in Iowa. At 9, Peggy watched the moon landing and was hooked. She earned a PhD in biochemistry and landed a job with NASA. But it was 10 years before they decided she had the right stuff. During her conference call with the president, she described her mission, and then this moment.
But water is such a precious resource up here that we also are cleaning up our urine and making it drinkable, and it's really not as bad as it sounds.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Better you than me.
By the time she lands in September, Peggy Whitson will have spent 666 days in space, with more spacewalks than any other female astronaut. The world record, 879 days in space, is held by the Russian Gennady Padelka. He has announced his retirement. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
And still to come on Newswatch at noon, we'll be back with our Promise Tracker. All week long, we're taking a closer look at President Trump's key campaign promises as he hits the 100th day mark.